Hi, how are you? It has been a long day and it has been a long week, but I thought that I talk to you a little bit about forgiveness, forgiving, apologizing. I thought about it quite a long time because it has been somehow fashionable to forgive everything to everyone and all, and then live happily ever after and be in peace and harmony with the world. But it was this week that I heard it once again. That we said that we are sorry and you are a bad person if you do not forgive. You hold a grudge and that's not nice. Well, that's like the second phase of forgiving and apologizing. There are different kind of steps, if you would like to call them, or somehow put them in order. But if we start from the lightest one and then get to heavier stuff, there is of course the normal way of apologizing and forgiveness that comes from your heart. For example, if my husband does something foolish, let's say once or twice a year, and then he realizes that he has done something, and say, "Oh my God, honey, I'm sorry, I didn't understand that it's going to hurt you, or I was just foolish." So of course I tell him that I know everybody makes mistakes and you didn't know any better at that time, so of course I forgive you. And it's truly forgotten after that. Maybe laughed at from years now, but it doesn't bug me anymore. And then there is the second step. The people that constantly do something wrong and then they always say that I'm sorry. This kind of person, I'm sorry, I did this, I'm sorry, I did that, I'm sorry. Then it loses its meaning. And for one, I would ask, if you are asked to forgive time and time and time again, very frequently, that are you with the right kind of persons? If they mess up all the time, maybe you should think that, or I would think that if I was you, and I think that because I'm me. And then there are of course these persons that take it even further. They make you the bad person, like they said to me, if you don't forgive. And that's totally different thing. Because then the apology and the forgiveness is only the get away from jail card in Monopoly, that you just say it and then you can start a clean slate and hurt again. And then you are forgiven and then you hurt again and again and again. And you think that everything is okay, or at least you can say that everything is okay. You forgave me, so you cannot go back to those. Then we are talking about, do we forgive people or do we hold them accountable for their actions? And as far as I know, the later one is rather fashionable too. And I think that I run into this kind of situation quite often. It's a certain type of people that do this, and they really do not want to be any friend or any close relationship. They just want to mess things up all the time. I don't know, do they have the power to change their behavior or not? But it doesn't matter. I don't want to be with that kind of persons because it just hurts time and time again. And then if we go further into the more serious issues that I wanted to talk to you about is, let's say, a beginning of a new relationship. Everything is new and shiny and everything goes and everything is nice, and then something happens and they're sorry. And you say, of course, this is the only thing that this thing happens, so of course I forgive them. Then something else happens after a few months. Then after a few months, the next, and then it comes weekly, and then it becomes daily. This is the situation that we shouldn't forgive and forget anymore. If something like that happens in a relationship, you really start counting the strikes. So how many strikes until they are out? And because I have lived in this kind of situation, it can be anything. It's more serious than leaving your dirty socks on the floor, but it can be quite heavy too. It can be hurting, shouting, trying to isolate you, violence, anything. But it escalates slowly but surely. And if you think that you have to forgive everything, you end up miserable. But start to count the strikes when things become serious. And this has been my superpower, and it is. I do not forgive, and I do not forget. I count the strikes in the matters that matter. And with this kind of relationship, when it came to end and there were no more strikes, then I said that I'm going to leave. And I did. And that was taking care of myself, thinking reasonably, what should I forgive and forget? And when do I have to think about myself and do the math, hold them accountable for what they did? And then there is the fluffy kind of forgiveness, that you should forgive everything and to everyone, even to those, and especially to those that do not apologize, do not say that they are sorry. Never. You should forgive like to everyone and to everything. People in your childhood, people in your schools, teachers mainly, adults in your life when you were a child, and the previous spouses and boyfriends and girlfriends and approximately like everyone. And then you would be in harmony and live happily ever after. Well, I don't think so. Not necessarily, or not in any case. Think about it, what kind of deception it is for yourself to think that you can just forgive to everybody and everything and then forget it and it isn't part of you anymore. But I have to tell you that in my life, it's again superpower, not forgiving and not forgetting. If I think about the adults that were in my life when I was a child, I didn't know then that what they did was wrong. And it took me years, it took me decades to figure out what was wrong. I knew always that something is wrong, but what was wrong? That was my question that I had to find out. And because I don't try to forgive and forget, it took time, but I knew and I got the confirmation for myself that I am the sane one and they were wrong. And you know, when you were a little child, it's very easy for adults to say that no, you misunderstand, you make it too fuss and you are too sensitive and behave. And if you hear that kind of things all the time, you start to believe it. But back to this fluffy forgiveness. It's odd thing that you should accept everything that has happened and you should accept everything that is going on. And it sounds to me a lot like denial. I don't know. So, not forgiving and forgetting can be a superpower. It's certainly mine. I know in this world and in these relationships that I have had, the bad ones I mean, it has saved me from a lot. It has saved me from the ideals that were in my surroundings when I was a child. It has gave me a reason and a strength to let go of bad relationships. And it has given me the backbone to be who I am and not apologize, but to live so that I don't have anything to apologize. And that's always the first option if we can live that way. So that was my thoughts on forgiving and forgetting. If you have some thoughts, please comment down below. Or if you like this kind of content, give it a like so I know and the algorithm knows. I'm not a therapist. I'm a spouse, mom, and lawyer entrepreneur. And I'm just somebody who has lived through these. I hope you have a great day. I'll see you soon. Goodbye.